Hi, today's, now September 20th, 2019. My husband told me not to make a video because of me not being able to speak. I have to. I am led, and I have to tell you, I'm going to scoot closer to the mic in case people can't hear me. I have to tell you the dream that I had and go into this Bible study it's amazing because there's been a lot of confirmation on it. And also today was my niece's 23rd birthday. And I had a dream that I was at a school and I heard a loud siren. Okay, I'm going to stop myself. You know those old-fashioned radios that you wind up and they do woo? That's what it sounded like. And I said, what is that? And it kept going off and then it stopped, going off and then it stopped. President Trump was there. And I said, and he said, I'm getting ready for the national emergency. I decided to go inside the school and went inside this office. Sorry, I'm about to cry because this Bible study is powerful. And I saw all white, a red chair, a desk, and a bookshelf. That's all I seen. And on the desk, there was a glass showcase, okay, with 2 medallions in it. Like when you win a race, you get a medallion. The first one was green that said failed, and it had Netanyahu's name on it. And the second one was white and said winner, and the name Pablos was on it. I said, what? Why isn't Gant's name on it? And it switched scenes. I was in a kitchen or something, and a man with black curly hair fell from the ceiling. And I knew he was a demon, and so I stabbed him on the right side of his head and turned around, and I continued on what I was doing, and I noticed a woman was pressed up against the wall, all in white, saying, "You're not saved." I said, "Excuse me?" I walked up to her, and in her face, I said, "Say it again." She said, "You're not saved." I said, "You don't know the first thing about being a Christian. I am saved, and I killed a demon. Is that why I'm not?" And I woke up. Okay. The national emergency, is going to be announced because of the rapture of the church. Okay. We're getting ready to go home. Okay. And we know, obviously, that Netanyahu did not win, that he's going to have to form some type of coalition, and it's going to be absolutely impossible for him to do. Because his heart is for God and the other people don't want it. They want the division of the land. Okay? And I believe the reason why Gant's name wasn't on there is because of these certain scriptures I'm going to be reading that's going to tie into this. What's the other thing? All right, the sirens that's going off is the warnings that's going out, and that's why he didn't declare it just yet. This is our warnings, the watchmen getting out warnings as much as we can before we get out of here, okay? And killing a demon, I believe that represented the Antichrist, okay? Because it was in the right side. And I know that when, he gets a deadly head wound, it's going to be on the right side. But the woman that was saying, "You're not a Christian," that's the outsiders looking in on us, judging us, because we're doing what's right for God. And it's spiritual attacks that have been coming upon the Watchman community. Excuse me. Okay, now before I watched Revelation12.com, a friend of mine was talking to me, Tracy, and she sent me some messages, and her and I was talking about, this election and, all that, and was leading me into scripture. Well, I was led more so than just this verse. I mean, in detail, what I'm going to read. Micah 4, 9 through 10, obviously. "Now, why doest thou cry aloud? Is there no king in thee?" Obviously, there's no king in Israel now, because of what's happened. Netanyahu stepping out, and he's not even going to be speaking at the UN. And it says, "Is thy counselor perished? For pangs have taken thee as a woman in travail. be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out the city, and thou shalt dwell in thy field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. Okay. All right, so, and then it says, there the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies. All right, I'm going to break this down. Okay, a woman in travail, Revelation 12 signs September 23rd, which is 2 years. And I don't want to get too jumpy back and forth into this, okay? But what's going to happen is it says that they have to go back to Babylon. We are Babylon, so therefore the king that is supposed to be announcing the peace treaty, quote unquote, Antichrist, the only one that's supposed to be announcing it is Trump. I have to say that. And the Saudi just bombed Iranian troops in Syria. I just now got a message. Just now. Oh my gosh. Oh, this confirms more of my study. Woohoo. Yes, thank you, Lord. Okay, so then he's going into Babylon. He's going to be deceiving the people. Okay, which is going to, therefore, there's going to be war, and then there's going to be peace, the false peace, okay? And of course, we know judgment comes upon them, and that the woman will flee before the Antichrist gets her, or the baby, the man-child, and it gets caught up, okay? And God's going to protect the rest of the Jewish people into the wilderness, okay? Now, it says, there the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of my enemies. Now I'm going to read to you Jeremiah 8:19-20. Listen, the voice, the cry of the daughter of my people from a far country. Is not the Lord in Zion? Is not her king in her? Okay. Why have they provoked me to anger with their carved images, with foreign idols? Okay. They are putting their trust in a man instead of God. They have fallen away from God and his commands and what he has commanded them to do. Excuse me. I am coming down, I know, with bronchitis, which I have no medical insurance. So I'm believing and trusting that we're going to be out of here before, anything bad happens. Okay. And anyways, no matter how sick I am, even if I can't talk above a whisper, if God leads me, I will make a video if you can hear me. Verse 20 is a very important one. It says, the harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. October ends summer for Israel, and it begins their winter. October 1st is Rosh Hashanah, okay, from September 29th to October 1st, which has already begun the grapes harvest, okay, because the wheat harvest ended around the 15th, Tu B'Av, okay. So I'm going to keep reading this, and then Isaiah 13:8 says, and they will be afraid. Pangs and sorrows will take hold of them. They will be in pain as a woman in childbirth. They will be amazed at one another. Their faces will be like flames. Hoo-wee. Psalms 48:4, 5, and 6. All right, now I'm going to read this slowly because there's certain verses out of the Bible that I like to read more in depth through the Strongs than just regular, because there's so much important words in there. For lo, the kings were assembled, or in agreement at the appointed gathering, passed by or beyond, passed over, carry, or to cover. Together they saw, or they discerned and beheld it, and so they marveled. It has a semicolon, and a semicolon means another event that's going to happen right around the same time as this event happening, in order to not make it run into one another. Okay? So whatever this agreement type thing is going to happen, okay, because they have no king, they're okay with what's going to happen is they're going to accept Muslims, and we know that Iran is already, Netanyahu, if I can read this, it will help better describe what I'm saying, okay, because the Israelis, the Iranians and stuff, we already know they don't get along. So this next part, all right, I believe this first part's war. Okay, after they get assembled, and then what's going to happen, okay, you know how they all chant peace, 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 but there is no peace. This is where this verse comes in, the second part of it. They were troubled, okay, they were made to tremble or be alarmed, okay? Just kind of like the alarm I was hearing Trump play over and over for the national emergency, and hasted away. Fear took hold upon them there, okay? And pain as of a woman in travail. There's a lot about this Revelation 12. Everything's leading to this, okay? All right, now this is going to be about the division of the land. But before I do that, I'm going to read to you this article, bits and pieces, which I posted this online before I got videos of Revelation 12. So it was kind of a confirmation what God was leading me. Netanyahu's era is over. Israel is on a new path. Benjamin Netanyahu is in a tight spot and will be a few more days until we can determine the exact makeup of the next Knesset. But until then, we can safely say that in the decade of Netanyahu's rule, his situation has never been worse than it was on Tuesday, and it's not because the magic suddenly dissipated. Netanyahu failed in the April vote as well. He couldn't form a coalition then, and so he dragged the people of Israel back into another round of elections. All Netanyahu's trying to do is to do right by God, okay? And that's what, because the Jews don't accept God as Jesus as their Messiah, they're going to usher in a new king, which is the Messiah, in which this absence of having a king ruling over there is going to usher in the Antichrist. This is a perfect time because there's going to be war, Antichrist coming, and the peace plan and all that. It's all falling into place. Despite Israelis' long experience with sudden political upheaval, one can safely say that the latest elections were a heavy blow, not just for Netanyahu, but the whole of the Likud and the entire right wing. According to the results still being counted, it's hard to see how Netanyahu can escape a situation where blue and white outstripes the Likud. The right wing is smaller than the central left, and Netanyahu needs a miracle to be able to form a government. These days, Netanyahu is not a man of miracles, not anymore. The choices Netanyahu has made lately, including in the week before the elections, are the choices of a frightened and weak man who's willing to do anything, including going to war against the advice of the entire Israeli security forces to keep his seat and not face the wrath of the justice system. You guys understand that this war is very prophetic. It is meant to happen, and Netanyahu is helping to do, to also, he's a pawn also in this, just like all the rest of them, to usher in this ending of the church age, okay? The election results are proof that the people are fed up with Netanyahu. Benny Gantz may not be viewed as the ultimate leader, but he is viewed as a viable alternative to Netanyahu, and an alternative is what Israel wants. You understand that? They want an alternative. They don't want what God has planned. They're rejecting God and his people, okay? That's why Netanyahu cannot consolidate an obstructive bloc, failed to shove Lieberman under the election threshold, and miscalculated the might of Otzma Yehudit, Jewish power. All of these are grave failures for a man with the abilities Netanyahu once possessed. If there had been someone in April elections who could have stepped forward and unsurpassed the leadership like Ariel Sharon once did to the Likud, Israel wouldn't have to have a second round of elections. The problem is that even now we're dependent on people who haven't shown a sliver of leadership skills, and it's hard to imagine any of them showing any today. But now we have someone who stepped up, and he was on the one who brought the revolution we witnessed on Tuesday. Avigdor Lieberman is not only the winner of these elections, he's also the one who gets to choose the identity of the next government. That is powerful in itself right there. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that if the election's actual results are similar to the surveys, the chairman of Yisrael Beitenu could very well change the face of the country. Of course he is. We already know what's coming, okay? So I'm going to just finish these last couple paragraphs and we're done here. And now Likud, whose members signed a declaration of eternal loyal to Netanyahu needs to act. If the Likud doesn't pull itself together, we could find ourselves on a slippery slope to a third round of elections, which I don't believe there's going to be. The election is going to be the Antichrist, the Messiah that is going to step in place for Israel. On Tuesday, we heard some voices in the party declaring Netanyahu is like its sole leader. Allow me to scoof. We'll all see how fast things are going to change over there. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to my my Bible study. Okay, so Lamentations 2:16 is the division of the land. All your enemies have opened their mouth against you. Okay, we know that everyone's going to betray Israel because they're going to be for dividing the land. That's what's going to happen. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Surely this is the day we have waited for. Okay, they waited on this day for the division of the land. They waited on this day for them to have total control and to be able to rule over Israel. We have found it. We have seen it. Isaiah 21:10-15. Okay, now I have to read you this right here. It says, but before I do, I stand continually on the watchtower in the daytime. I have sat at my post every night. Okay, and it says, oh, my threshing and the grain of my floor, that which I have heard from the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I have declared to you. Okay, what verse 10-15? The burden against Duma, he calls to me out, Sair, watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, the morning comes, and also the night. If you will inquire, return, come back. Okay, the burden against Arabia. In the forest in Arabia you will lodge, O you traveling companies of Dedanites, O inhabitants of the land of Tema. Bring water to him who is thirsty. With their bread they met him who fled, for they fled from the swords, from the drawn swords, from the bent bow, and from the distress of war. And for thus the Lord has said to me, within a year, according to the year of a hired man, all the glory of Kedar will fall. You guys don't understand that this war that's going to occur is terrible. Okay, but God says that you who touch the apple of my eye, you know what's going to happen. They're going to be destroyed. He's very angry with them. Okay, and I'm going to read a couple more verses. Okay, which this actually right here, Micah chapter 5. I'm going to read a couple verses here. Gotta get my notes out. All right, it says, now gather yourselves in troops. Okay, this is talking about the war, what's going to happen for I believe the war which is going to occur to usher in this Antichrist for the peace deal to be announced. Okay, and I've said this many times before. I believe there's going to be a war, and I believe that this confirms all the Revelation 12 sign as the Habakkuk 2:3. What if the Revelation 12 sign is the appointed time? What if September 23rd is that appointed time, which is exactly 3 days before the sacrifice? Okay, which makes perfect sense here. Now gather yourselves in troops, O daughter of troops. He has laid siege against us. They will strike the judge of Israel with a rod on the cheek. But you, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, though you are little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall come forth to me the one to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth are from of old, from everlasting. Okay, we know that Jesus Christ is coming, and he will set up his kingdom forever and ever there. Okay, but first the bride gets taken away, and the tribulation is for the Jews. Remember that, because the grace period, the church age, is ending, so that God can now focus on Israel and get them back to where they belong from rejecting him. Therefore he shall give them up until the time. Now listen, Therefore he shall give them up until the time that she who is in labor has given birth. Revelation 12 sign. I'm going to read you that too. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return to the children of Israel. Okay? And he shall stand and feed his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of his name, of the Lord his God, and they shall abide. For now he shall be great to the ends of the earth, and this one shall be peace. When the Assyrians come into our land, and when he treads in our palaces, then we shall raise up against him 7 shepherds and 8 princely men. They shall waste with the sword the land of Assyria and the land of Nimrod at its entrances. Thus he shall deliver us from the Assyrian when he comes into our land, and when he treads within our borders. Then the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, like dew from the Lord, like showers on the grass, that tarry for no man, nor wait for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many peoples, like a lion among the beasts of the forest, like a young lion among flocks of sheep, who, if he passes through, both treads down and tears in pieces, and none can deliver. Your hand shall be lifted against your adversaries, and all your enemies shall be cut off. Wow. Now, what God's going to do is he's going to, therefore, after everything, he's going to, remember, he's going to grab the people that make up the Revelation 12 sign, those Jews that flee, and he's going to protect them under his wing. There's a certain place that they're going to go into the wilderness and hide, okay? So now I'm going to read to you chapter 7, verses 1 through 4. And it says, "Woe is me, for I am like those who gather summer fruits." Did we not just talk about summer ending? Like those who glean vintage grapes, there is no cluster to eat of the first ripe fruit which my soul desires. Okay? This isn't just literally talking about the fruit. The faithful man has perished from the earth. There is no one upright among men. They all lie in wait for blood. Every man hunts his brother with a net. You understand how serious that this situation is, and how close we are to going home. Everything prophetic is happening by Rosh Hashanah this year. Everything. And I'm going to read you verse 3 and 4, and then I'm going to read you one last thing, and I'm finishing up. The beast of them, or the best of them, is like briar. The most upright is sharper than a thorn hedge. The day of your watchman and your punishment comes. Okay, the day of your watchman. We are those watchmen, the day that which the rapture occurs. Okay, and then punishment is also going to come, because when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them, as travails a woman upon childbirth. You understand? It's all happening back to back to back to back. All of it. Okay? And now shall be their perplexity. Okay? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Now, like I said, Revelation 12 to tie everything up, which we've all read a million times. But it gives confirmation to everything that which I have read, that is not of my own understanding. Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pains to give birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Okay, which we know that these are tribulous times that have occurred. We are not exempt from going through tribulous times. We are exempt from the great tribulation, that which is going to occur upon the whole world because of Israel's mistake and because of our sin. Okay. Then being with child, she cried out in labor as to give birth. Oh, and then I'm going to go down. Verse 5. Okay, verse 4. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his heads. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who was to rule all the nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. Okay? Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Wow. So, we are here, folks. There is nothing more that us watchmen can say except for war, Antichrist, peace treaty, rapture. Any day, any time. If you're not saved, ask Jesus Christ into your heart. Believe he died on the cross for you. Confess with your mouth that you are a sinner. Okay? Because time is out. We are here. We've never been here before like we are now. And this is the most crucial time that we've ever had in all history, since the beginning of time, since ever. And it will never occur again. Ever. If you're not saved, get saved now, because time is out.